Hello there. I didn't see you. So I'm making vegetable soup today. I'm doing this because I had a buttload of vegetable that I still needed to use, and I don't want it to go to waste. Now, we do have the local chickens, and the local chickens would have loved a lot of this stuff, but so do I. I like using vegetables. So it's going to be a vegetable soup of random variety. I've got some carrots, some red potatoes. I love my potatoes. I'm not going to use all of them. I am going to share some to the chickens because I don't want it to be a complete potato-based vegetable. I've got one onion. I have a couple of smaller ones in there, almost like shallot size, but I don't want them. I only want one onion. And there's a cauliflower. So, if I just divvy out what I'll give the chickens, right, that is what I plan to use. So, yeah, it's pretty basic. It's not meant to be too complicated or anything. I'm going to make it all chunky. I'm not going to try and make onion rings, but I'm just going to let them fall apart as rings themselves. I brought my bin nearby this time. I don't have to keep shoveling into that space. So, what we're going to start with, we will start with the onion. I'm probably going to make a lot of chefs or people who are a bit more qualified than me nervous with the way I use a knife and put my fingers. But until I hurt myself, today, maybe then I will learn my lesson. But until then, I'm not. And I don't like this core. Sometimes I can get away with a clean core. And a clean core is, it doesn't look dried out. It doesn't have like regrowth on the inside of it. So I like to chop out that. I don't like the regrowth core. But each to their own, right? I'm gonna, how do I get the rest of this out without making a mistake of myself? I'll get it there in a second. Right, there we go. Got that core out. And see, I've already screwed up my onion rings. Now they're onion half rings. Onion archways. But, yeah, I've got someone working the camera today and they thought that was funny. So, always, I saw on a YouTube video, right? A proper chef in a working restaurant, blade down. It's like, you don't do that. You're going to, and maybe he's one of them fancy, like this, with the bloody sharpening stone all the time, but you're promoting bad habits. Even if you might keep it sharp all the time, they don't know that. I didn't know that. Like, you don't automatically just think that's right. So, we get all that crappy core out of there. Okay, so, because I did half circles, I'm going to do big slices. And basically, that is how they're going to stay. Because I'm boiling them, I'm not pan frying them. When you pan fry them, they shrink. Right, so, cameraman had some issues with the water. And I just, breathe out your mouth. In case you weren't aware, it helps. Because you're not bringing it into your eye sockets, right? It's going in your mouth and down your throat rather than up your nose. So, once again, I'm just doing big slices because they're no longer circles. And I wanted circles, but now that they're done, and that's basically it. Boom. Onions are going in the pot. Alright. Cleaning this because even though it's all going together, I don't want to be picking up any of this stuff on here and putting it in the pot. If it's still here, it's because I didn't want it. So when I put something else on there to chop up and it gets picked up by it, it's gone in there and I'm not going to bother chasing it down. So I was going to leave these whole, but they're starting to grow little potatoes on them. So I'm going to peel all that off. Notice that this one's green. So I'm starting to think if I even bother. It still smells alright. I mean, potatoes generally don't have a smell, but you can sort of tell when they're budding again just by their smell. They don't smell very nice. It's almost like they're going sour or something. I may be completely wrong, and that was just a day where my senses were picking up something silly, but I'm going to pretend like I know what I'm talking about. So, this potato's starting to actually look pretty good. Yes, it's going green. It is getting a bit out of date, but there is still a lot of white and yellow poking through, and I'm still going to use it. Last but not least, because I'm still going to peel the carrot. Alright. Now, at the moment, I'm looking at this soup. It's really going to be water and vegetable, isn't it? But if you don't have very much in the house, maybe you're running low on money, you're really struggling to make do, you can always make a vegetable and water meal, just like they did back in the day, exciting. And 9 times out of 10, you've got pepper in the cupboard. You've got salt in the cupboard. If you're so inclined you want to add salt. Sometimes you don't need to. I'm going to wash these potatoes, by the way. Alright. Just making sure I've got all the peel off. But yeah, as I was saying, so cheap and easy. I mean, you could get real fancy with it too. Like if you did want to put the potato in there, maybe you could have jacket potatoes and soup. If that's exciting for you. But so we're just going to go half and half. I'm going to do squares. Alright. The more potato in there, the more variety of vegetable you have. Same when it goes to carrots. But you don't want to go too small. You don't want them to match up. So, just doing some big chunks. We're almost done here. And then we're on to the carrot. Carrot's going to be little cubes, little small slice types. Nothing too fancy or crazy about it, and that's all I try to do every time. It's meant to be easy. It's meant to be out of sight, out of mind, because everyone is always busy, right? You don't want to have to sit over the stove the entire time, stirring or making sure it's not boiling over. And as long as you're using a pot that's bigger than the meal you're making, you never have that worry. And I say that, but water still likes to play tricks on you and boil over anyway. So I'm just peeling off this carrot skin. You can keep the skin on if you so wish, but these carrots were, as you can see, they're starting to get just a bit out of date for me. So we're just going to peel that off, pretend it didn't exist, chop off the ends of them, and a new lease on life. So we make some chunky carrots. Doesn't have to be perfect in the same size. Randomness is good randomness. Right. And then we peel to the last carrot. Straight into the bin. Yeah, so remember how I was telling you, you knew what I was talking about? Well, yeah, I need some sort of industrial bin chute so I can just and it goes straight out into the bin. But I don't have one of them, do I? So, I'm gonna get this carrot chopped up, dice that up, move that off to the side. Okay, get some carrot in there. Now, I had a hard time with this last time, but let's see if this one will just rub off, because you can twist it out like you can an apple, but no, it's hanging on there for dear life. So I'm going to try and get this stem out of here without breaking the cauliflower up too much, because I want to separate the stems and keep a bit of a chunkiness to it. Alright, so I'm trying not to be a bad example on how to cut this up, but you don't want to cut it in your hand, but you just want to cut as much of this stem off as you want, because it's going to cook a little bit long. It's going to take a bit longer than the actual the cauliflower is going to take. So I'm just going to cut off enough that they're not individual, but they're all a big piece, sort of thing. So now that I've done that, I've still got a big flat surface there. I can separate it into the chunk sizes I want, rather than what it's going to make me do. Alright, and I just peel it off, because I don't want big chunk where one person might miss out. So it's sort of like little bits here and there. Right? And I've also been told, since I've been cooking, that when I pout, I look like Mick Jagger. Now, leave it in the comments below if you think so. And I've just made everyone laugh again. I'm not a comedian. I try to be, but I'm not. So, and this was recorded in front of a live studio audience. And I don't know why they say that either. Is it like a disclaimer, like that it's not a fake laugh track to impose laughing? I don't know. Anywho, so I just continue on separating me cauliflower here, getting some decent chunks in there. Now, I'm going to show you at the end, it doesn't have an awful lot going for it. It looks like just a lot of water. It's going to be a lot of flavoured water and some lumpy bits in there, right? And to be fair, you're probably right. But as I said at the start of this cook, it's something like, I don't want to go to waste. It's a mishmash of, this is what I've got left and this is what I'm making. Right? Don't have to be special. It never does. Right? The only time it needs to be special is if you're trying to offer it to someone at a house party. You're like, oh, I'm so proud of what I did. And as you should be. But they're probably going to be disappointed in water and vegetable. Because you don't make friends with soup. I mean, they say it with salad too, but salad has become the new soup. Anyway, we're almost done here. Now, it's starting to look more like a cauliflower soup even. I wish they had mushrooms, but no, we don't have any mushrooms. And I don't think that actually tastes any good in a boiled state anyway. They probably do. I've never done it. I should probably give it a go. But we're almost done here. Alright, I'm getting a little bit more lax when it comes to the stems. I've got to try not to. So basically, right now, I'm tossing this just so you can see what's going on in here when I bring it to the camera. Unless the camera comes here. But basically, we got our onions, carrots, cauliflower, potato, and we're going to put some stock in there. Now, I do have a stock left over, so I won't need any water in this one. Just a final thought, stock isn't actually necessary, and you can just do this with water. So to save on even more cost, add water, and just maybe add more seasonings to make the difference. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I know a lot of this is going to break down, but we still may need a bit of water, we'll just see. Because it's a soup, we don't want to not have any liquid left over. Alright, we're done with our rubbish. Put that in as we go. I am going to grab some water. Right, probably another cup, 2.5, maybe 3 cups of water. So we put some water in there, so now a lot of it is floating, which is good. It's going to give it enough time to cook, separate itself into what it wants to do. We got all the onions starting to come apart, which is great. I wanted to add garlic to it, I wanted to add a few extra things to it, but I just couldn't. The reason I couldn't was because I didn't have it, and that's what this whole meal is all about. Now, I do have some seasonings I want to put in here. So, this whole idea is like it's a winter soup, very chunky. But I want a little bit of spice in there to give that warm feeling of it going down. So it's like it might be a bit hot. I'm not going to do too much garlic, but it's garlic powder.
Well, that's good.
Ooh, yes, that's good. Right, so, bam, right in your nose. We got a bit of curry. You can use paprika. I would have used paprika too, because it's a little bit more spicy. But I find that cinnamon has a very sweet option to it, and I don't know. Curry's just a bit too sweet, I find. But pepper. Now, you put as much pepper in as you like. I'm a big pepper fan, but as I usually do, it's to taste, because it's just not me that's eating it. So, I'm going to give this a stir. And once I find the right balance, it may dilute later. But I won't be adding any extra flavour to it. It's just a really nice base for other people to taste. If I want it worse or hotter or whatever, I will add that sort of stuff later. Alright. Now, nope. Needs more curry. Once again, I'm not giving you any major measurements. Like I said, it's to taste. So you may want more. So you'll want to remember a recipe you want to go for. Needs more garlic. More pepper. I'm just trying to take a little bit of that vegetable stock flavouring and flatten that curve a little bit. So my seasonings come through as well. Yeah, alright. There's a bit of curry. The garlic sort of comes through right at the end. Almost like a stick, like a... I don't know, it's almost like if you've ever eaten garlic raw, it feels like there's like at the back of your tongue, it's almost like a tingle, and I think that's where I'm getting the garlic flavour from. And then as I'm talking, I can smell it coming out in my words. So we've got enough garlic, we've got enough curry. I can taste pepper. We're going to put this on the stove. Alright. Alright, I'll grab the camera and bring that over to have a look. So, I'm going to boil that now. I'm going to get all of the vegetables cooked. Once I start seeing it boil, I'm actually going to simmer it and just going to simmer it until everything's cooked down. And then you grab your ladle, you take a big scoop of everything out, and yeah, you'll see what it looks like at the end. So, thank you very much for joining me on this Dingo's cooking adventure where, you know, I just put something together. I did want to make something a bit more elaborate, but as I said, this is what is left, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.